Hey everybody, it's your pal Mike Zombie, and this week we're going to talk about I Am Omega from 2007. This was on a DVD compilation that I bought a couple days ago at Kmart of all places, where I got 10 zombie films for $5. Can't beat that. So I'm driving home, and I'm looking at the cover, trying to figure out what I'm going to do this week, because I've had a jam-packed week, and I knew I was really going to have to do it in stages to make sure everything got done. And I saw I Am Omega, and I thought, you know what, that kind of reminds me of the Omega Man. Maybe I'm Legend. I don't know. So I'll check it out. Put in the DVD, click on the movie, and it says it's from Asylum. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, then it's obviously going to be a ripoff of Omega Man and I Am Legend. For those of you who don't know, the Asylum loves to release a film that tries to steal the thunder from a giant film that's about to come out. Not to say steal. Okay, fuck it. They try to steal. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Steal as much of the idea and the plot as they can and try to keep their asses out of copyright jeopardy. For example, apparently they released this right before I Am Legend, like a month before it came out. They released titles such as Transmorphers and motherfucking Snakes on a Train. And while in that sense, I love what the Asylum does, and the Asylum, and that's what kills me. They've given me some of the worst films I've ever seen. Not given to me, but they've released some of the worst films I've ever seen. But like a sucker, I always come back and go, oh, here we go, another Asylum film, and I always sit down and check this shit out. This one actually wasn't as bad as a lot of their other catalog. Asylum, I know some of you guys listen to us. Hey, it is what it is. Don't hate you, don't love you. Kind of not sure what, it's kind of like I got drunk and got a bad touch. But I'm like, well, I still got a touch, though. Like it. So, same kind of thing going on here, I guess. Now, as this was in production before I Am Legend came out, I think they tried to borrow some elements that would have been available for anybody to see in maybe the trailers. Because in the beginning, it kind of seems like they're really trying to, in a weird way, emulate it. But then it kind of goes off the fucking rails. So we've got our male lead. He is a tall, muscular, martial arts. I'm not going to call him a master. I know he's been in some martial arts films, but guess what? So is Ralph Macchio. Doesn't make him a fucking martial arts master, okay? So we start off with the zombie apocalypse has happened, and our lead, he's having these flashbacks as he's in his house doing his thing of his wife and his child that have been vanquished and killed, whatever. And we see he has a little, and I didn't realize it at first. He's got a picture of his dog up, and it's like a little shrine. And I'm like, that's kind of like I Am Legend. Yeah, fucking of course it was. So they're trying to flash back that he's lost his family, and it was really painful. And they do a weird flash forward, and we see it kind of as it happens, and it was kind of annoying to me. But we see his wife and his son just get chewed the fuck up by zombies. We don't know what he was out doing. He must have been out doing weird karate kicks for no fucking reason in the air. And that's what I like about these films. Any of these films, I see a lot of these films that sneak in like martial arts, and they'll have some motherfucker just kicking in the air, keoping all over the fucking place, not fighting shit, but atoms, because he's just fucking kicking the air around. Nothing's going on. So it's good these guys get themselves all fucking sweated out and tired, fucked up, and just, hyperventilating, kicking air, just to show us that they can break a brick and a stick. Thank you very much. Is it going to save you in the apocalypse? Probably not. So, and this is important because I noticed a couple of really funny, fucked up things about this film. Because I want to say that for a film, Asylum is not afraid to spend upwards of $300 to get it made. And the beauty is, once you own the editing suites and the cameras, you really don't have to put all that much money into films aside from locations and paying people. I'm assuming... Maybe someone from Asylum can set me straight on that. But I'm going to venture they spent upwards of $300 on this film. This guy, he gets into an Oldsmobile Omega, which I thought was really fitting, of course, because it's I Am Omega. And it's a fucked up car. And my first honest thought was, man, if I'm the last asshole running around the apocalypse, why the fuck, with things in short supply, am I going to get an uncomfortable, unair-conditioned, gas-guzzling piece of shit to fuck around in when I could get something a bit sturdier, a bit better on gas, with a lot more protection and better performance? But okay, it's an Oldsmobile Omega, so we'll use it for the film. I got it. I kind of laughed. And the car is easy to recognize. It's an ugly color. It's kind of fucked up and old, and he's got a steering wheel wrap that they show real up close. It looks like a fucking giant French tickler. It's got a bunch of bumps on it. The license plate, though, initially, when we first see him in the Omega, it's covered up. It's 199 RIK. That's important for later. So this guy drives around, and he's in Los Angeles, and thank God for the garment district in L.A. Because, again, you've heard me say this, how many fucking movies are filmed around 7th and Mateo, in between all these little industrial buildings where they make all the knockoff clothes and shit that everybody likes to buy. This is no exception. It's filmed there, and Oxnard. I know Oxnard for a whole other reason in this film. This guy drives around, and he seems distracted. Apparently, he's the last guy left, and he's attaching explosives to gas lines coming into gas lines that are, probably about as big around as a fucking fire hose, a couple, and then he puts a brick of C4 around the gas meter at someone's house. And I'm like, what the fuck is the purpose in this? Anyway, and he's going into the sewers and he's doing some shit. This guy is going to blow up Los Angeles. So he heads back home. And he's apparently still tapping into the government network like Will Smith was. And he's got his laptop and he's going in and wait, what the fuck is this? He gets an instant message and he ignores it. And which is silly to me because he's desperate to not be alone. And he keeps getting this instant messaging popping up because, of course, when you're on the government network, fucking AOL Instant Messenger is breaking right through that shit. And I'm gonna cut through this because there really wasn't much. It started off kind of interesting, and I didn't hate this film, but he's eventually going to accept an instant message from some girl, and she's like, "Oh my God, you need to get me out of here." And the beauty is she's asking him, "Get me out of here. I'm somewhere in Los Angeles. Come get me." She has no idea if this motherfucker is talking to her from Pakistan, but she just assumes, "You're somewhere in Los Angeles. Come save me." Face on the internet cam that I've got up to my laptop. And he's like, "No, I can't go get you." And he's just being a dick, and he hangs up on her. And suddenly two hee-haws roll up in a fucking van. And they're like, "Hey, you need to come with us." And he keeps calling him compadre. It was really aggravating. "Hey, compadre, you need to come with us," and blah, blah, blah. And our hero, I say that just lightly, he's like, "No, I don't want to go. Fuck you, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you." And they pull out a bazooka and blow his house up. But they don't show it because, of course, that would clearly exceed the $339 allocated to this film. So they just go boom, and you see his face. He's like, God damn, they blew my fucking house up and all my stuff. Well, all right, I guess I'll go. He doesn't seem that upset, which is weird. And these guys are apparently paramilitary, formerly, and they're like, we got your messages. We were watching you talk to this girl, which is ridiculous because these assholes were in a van that was sub Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine van. Again, this was just some asshole's van that wanted to make this film. And they're cruising around in the fucking 1985 GMC Vandura, but they've got some kind of communications equipment which allows them to spy on the government network. And it was so fucking stupid when they explained how it worked. I was like, this is aggravating just to hear. So they've listened to the conversation. They want to get this girl and take her to Antioch because Antioch is the safe area. And I've been to Antioch, and it's a dog's ass. There's nothing nice in Antioch, California. But apparently that's where the safe area is. So they're like, "We need to go get her." "Well, we didn't want to blow your house up, compadre, but compadre, if you come with us, just show us, compadre, where she is. We're going to let you go. Compadre, we're going to apologize for blowing up your house, and we're going to take her up to Antioch so we can save the world. Okay, compadre, get in the van." They go to get the girl, and like the guys get fucked up and swamped by zombies because there are zombies everywhere. And our hero goes to where the girl is, and they immediately start arguing with each other, though they've only met seconds before. And he's like, you need to come with me. And she's like, why? I don't know if I can trust you. Where are we going? And they're just yelling, which is that you wouldn't have a long argument in a parking structure full of zombies, but they decide to anyway. And there's immediate arguments and just bullshit. It was like people that had known each other and somewhat disliked each other for years. So it kind of threw me off. And they're looking for a car to take. Bear in mind, he left his Omega up at his shitty-ass trailer property up in the, I'm just going to guess it was up near Magic Mountain somewhere, and had to go in the van. So now it's just him and her running around a parking garage trying to find a car to get them out of there to safety. And she goes, there's our car. What do you know? There's a really shitty looking, like, green Oldsmobile Omega. And it's a convertible, which I don't believe those were ever. There was no convertible Omega. It wasn't even a performance car. It was just like one of the Oldsmobile's shitty cars. It was like the Caprice kind of. Anyway, so I'm like, someone sawed off the roof of a fucking Omega, and of course the steering wheel is the French tickler, and I'm like, son of a bitch, what do you know? License plate 199RIK. The label that was covering it in the first place, which you could see through, has now been taken off. It's the same shitty car. So now it's convertible, because that's great. We're going to try to escape running, biting zombies in a big, bulky convertible with no top whatsoever. I'm going to fast forward and save us both some trouble to where it turns out the guys show up again in the van. They're really the bad guys. They want to kill the woman because she's got some kind of gene that makes her immune, and her blood could be just converted into some type of serum that'll save the day. And they show up and shoot our hero 3 times in the chest. But that doesn't stop our hero from being shot 3 times in the chest to still fighting and running around and driving a car. And it's a standard transmission. He's without a key, so he actually has to push this car to bump start it. And he does so, and he's driving along. He's racing after these guys and fighting. Never mind, he's got 3 fucking rounds in his chest, which to me was like, nice work, Asylum. Way to take this completely out of the realm of any possibility. Thanks for the wild exaggerations as towards his prowess. But he'll still do a few kicks in the air because, fuck it, he's a martial artist and we need to know that. Let's see. So, boy saves girl, girl kisses boy. And it was really evident when it started going, because it went from an interesting, somewhat premise, because it was interesting only because I'm like, well, let's see how much they steal from Omega Man, which is a great film, by the way, if you want to go way back. And that was the precursor to I Am Legend. And I'm not including this in the trilogy. It'll be 2 movies, not a trilogy, because this was just such a poor film that was designed to steal a bit of thunder. That's how Asylum continues, apparently. And that's fine. I got no problem with Asylum. But it was interesting to watch to see exactly how much they would rip off, how much they would take from the novel I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, how much they would take from that and try to use, and how much they would try to relate it to make it I Am Legend. And once that curiosity was satisfied, this became a very dull, boring movie. It wasn't even interesting aside from looking for simple mistakes or silly plot device. I mean, like, hey, I'm going to blow up Los Angeles because I got some fucking C4 tied to some gas meters at this house down the street. It's going to cripple Los Angeles. That and the fact that with all of the available techno, this is modern day. This isn't like 1982, that he's got all of his shit synchronized on his Casio calculator phone bank watch. Remember that? When you were like in junior high or 6th grade and you got a fucking Casio watch that had 800 buttons on it just to type in numbers and addresses, and you thought you were either Japanese or the coolest white motherfucker ever? Yeah, he's got one of those to synchronize all of his shit together. And it was just fucking silly. And it didn't seem like they were trying to be silly, which kind of threw me off. It seemed like they were trying to be serious. But once the curiosity went out of the way, this film went right off the fucking rails. It wasn't a bad film, but it wasn't a good film, and I won't pretend it was. On the Berdinsky scale, which I've cleaned a couple keys of Coke on, just saying, to repackage, cut it with Italian baby laxative and make my money back. That's what you got to do. This film would be a borrow for somebody who really likes Omega Man, I Am Legend, or Oldsmobile Omegas, it would be a borrow. For most people, it would be a don't bother. If you'd like to see the Asylum continue doing this, it would probably be a buy. I mean, support what you want. Anyway, sorry that's all I've got in this film. It really was boring. And they almost showed the female interest. Her name was, I'm looking at the page, Jennifer Lee Wiggins. Yeah, she was cute. She would have been cuter topless. She was almost there. She was almost cuter. So that's all I got for this week. I'm doing this Friday night. It's 8:33 p.m. West Coast time. This will be available for download in less than 12 hours, I'm sure. I will be driving to Northern California to go to a memorial for a friend. So it's going to be a sad weekend for me. But coming back next week, we got some really good stuff happening. We have our 200th episode coming up. I think McPierce isn't even doing anything this week because he was out of town handling some family business, and he's back, but just doesn't have time to get it done because this does take time, believe it or not. We have to watch it, think about it, digest it, and end up putting together. I just babble, but he actually does fucking work and research. You know he does, and that's why he's great. So it's going to be just me this week, I think. And sorry, fucking download this shit. What a fucking letdown. Mike is just boring me with I Am Omega. Sorry. But you know what? Technically, I only paid 50 cents for this film when you consider it was 10 on a $5 DVD. This was worth every penny I paid. It was worth 50 cents. And McPierce had a great comment. I'm like, yes, you know what? When you review genre films like this and you have to do so many of one specific type, this is the secret. Compilations saves the day. And he's like, yeah, until you end up with 300 fucking copies of Night of the Living Dead. And he's so right because like every other compilation I buy, horror or zombie, and next time you're at Fry's or whatever place you get your movies from, check out those mega packs. Bet you $10. If it's a horror one, a straight up horror one, there's a real good chance Night of the Living Dead 68 will be on there. And of course it was here. So that's all I've got for this week. Please continue to send us your requests for our 200th episode. I will be reviewing the Italian zombie movie, The Grindhouse Cut. Special thanks to Mr. Burdinsky for sending me these 4 films. I'm going to check these out, and I'm going to check out The Suicide King, which is apparently a film that someone was inspired to make by watching Tom's work, which is incredible. That's great, and it's got to be really satisfying for Tom to know that he's making an impact. Someone really dug what a lot of people like what he did, but someone liked it enough to go, hey, I'm going to make a film because you kind of inspired me. That's great. That really is great. So thanks, Tom. I'm also doing a little bit of work with Tom. I'm not going to make an official announcement because Tom might go, you know, Mike, you really suck. So maybe we really should break this off. Tom and I are kind of dating. Ooh, oh, Tom, kiss me, you fool. All right, guys.